Nation Network. What's going on? Hey, it's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you guys are crushing it. I want to send you a big pre-congratulations on the 2,000 subscribers that you are so close to hitting. 2K22 is unbelievable, and I love that everybody's kind of jumping on board here and realizing how great the content that you're putting out is. So for the community, a big thank you for being part of the Nation Network, and you guys are just getting started. Woo! Keep it going.
Oh yes, Danhouse in here. Very nice, very evil, very famous. You are watching the channel that is very nice and very evil. The Nation Network. Isn't that good? Yes, it's true. If you're not watching the Nation Network housing, you are... Wait for it. Wait for it. Cursed.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Nation Network. I am your host, Vince McSham, and this is a brand new program called What's News, where we will be talking about anything and everything that's in the world of professional wrestling currently going on. Doesn't mean we can't bring up subjects from the past, but this is what we're focusing on, is what's happening in the world of 2K, WWE2K22, perhaps even some of the older games as they start shutting down more and more. Anything to do with this little world that we live in for professional wrestling. So a lot of news to report on from yesterday. As we know, we're into WrestleMania weekend, which means there's a whole lot happening here. Jamon Scott, welcome to the stream. And of course, as always, D-Train in the house. ROH is back. Samoa Joe makes his return, not just to ROH, but to AEW. And the thing that sucks about that is I totally had something planned that was going to do almost the exact same thing, not the same way, and I'll still be doing something with it. It just, that's why I had to get my show yesterday out yesterday, because if any of that comes true, I don't want it to be that I'm copying what they did. Now, Samoa Joe is part of the big news. He's not the news story of the day, though, as I drop my controller on the friggin' floor. Gonna end up breaking this thing, I swear to God. The big news of the day is that The Undertaker was put into the Hall of Fame. And really super cool. It was real late, so some of you may not have seen it yet. It's not like you can really do a spoiler too much when it comes to Hall of Fame, but if you don't want spoilers, you might not want to listen to the next few minutes of this. So The Undertaker gives one of the best Hall of Fame speeches of all. And while he talked about parts of his career, he really spent most of the time thanking everyone who made it. And that's a class act right there. A guy that does that, and he did it in spades. And I don't think he missed a person. Vince McMahon, of course, inducted him. And there was a moment where he went down a list of some of his opponents over the years. And that list alone, as he rattled off over 30 names, as fast as he rattled through that list, as soon as a name popped, it's like, I remember that match. I remember that match. And my brain was trying to keep up with him. And that little computer we call a brain was just flying in high speed. And every name he mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, I remember when he did this. I remember when he did that. It put it in perspective in a different way than I've ever seen or heard before, of just how incredible a career this guy had. That said, when he came out finally, the ovation from the fans, well deserved. I'm going to watch it again and time it. It feels like it was at least 10 minutes long before he could speak a word. And we saw him break character. Boy, he was fighting to stay in character, at least as a badass, okay? I mean, he's acknowledging himself as Mark Calloway, but he tried real hard not to crack, and I don't know how you can't. I mean, 30 years, it comes down to this. This is your swan song, your chance to thank the people, and to hear them so boisterously thanking you back and even before. I can only imagine. So that was an amazing Hall of Fame scenario. And you are listening to Blazed Radio. What's up, Blazed? The biggest thing comes at the end. Now, I was thinking this. As he's coming out, I'm like, damn it. They have mannequins set up behind him that have all of, well, not all of, but a lot of his iconic wrestling gear, or entrance gear more accurately. And I said, what would have been best is for him to come out with the black hat on and have one of the mannequins without the hat, and then as he gets up there, he kind of takes it off and puts it on the mannequin to signify that this is it, and then do the speech. That all said, they had other plans. Gives this speech, I don't know, 40 minutes maybe, a little more possibly. Didn't feel like it went really well. He starts to leave the ring, comes down the steps, and he pauses and looks back at his gear. And I'm like, that's a really powerful moment right there, you know? Don't mind mentioning, I was tearing up on that one. And then he walks back up, and he takes off one of the jackets, and he puts it on. And I was like, yeah, why not? Walk out the way you came down. And then he takes off the hat and puts that on. And he starts to leave again. And this time he stops. And he's got one of those Britney Spears microphones on, right? That's like wrapped around your head. And he just says, never say never. And the place exploded. I think the world and the internet exploded all at once. So several things we can pretty much safely say at this point in time. He is going to have something to do at WrestleMania, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's a match, even if it's a short one. But I don't think he's done quite yet. Even if it's just one more. They are clearly setting this up to feel like he's going to be going after Seth. That will work perfectly fine if for some reason Cody didn't go through with the plans, which I doubt. I don't think. It just seems like I think Cody's still going to come after Seth. And they are doing everything they can to put doubt in our minds and at least offer other potential scenarios of what could happen to try and throw us off the scent. I think it's brilliant that they do it this way, because right now you don't know if Seth's going up against Cody, Bray Wyatt, or The Undertaker. And by Bray Wyatt, of course, I mean The Fiend. Indeed, happy Mania weekend. And last night was a pretty busy night. I watched a good amount of SmackDown. Not all of it. I fast forward a lot. But I watched a decent amount of it. And as far as the go-home show goes, wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. Charlotte's promos are starting to become a little repetitive. You know, first she had the uh-oh, and now she's got, that's cool. It's like, okay, you're going to just come up with two new words and blow. You know, the uh-oh was fine once. But now that you're kind of like mass replicating it, not so much. You know, I'm over it already. So again, what will The Undertaker do? Don't know. We'll have to tune in and find out. But I got a sneaky suspicion. I'm going to say he takes out Austin Theory. Is Theory actually signed to a match? I don't think I saw his name anywhere. And I got a funny feeling Austin Theory's going to come down to the ring, start cutting a promo on, he's the hottest new talent in the world or whatever the hell. And why am I not on this card? And then I think Taker's going to come down and just tombstone his ass. That's my bet. But the fact that right after the Taker makes that line at the Hall of Fame, walks off, then they show a Seth Rollins package. They are trying really hard to make you believe The Undertaker is going to be going up against Seth Rollins. So hard that it almost makes me think it's a swerve. So my money right now, man, It's still Cody at the end of the day, but I am so closely torn between that and The Fiend, and I still think The Fiend is a bigger pop and a better payoff for the WWE if that happens. We all know Bray Wyatt's in town, part of this WrestleCon going on, signing autographs. First time he's done it. So, just saying. Oh, that's right. He is wrestling McAfee. My bad. How did I forget that? I guess because I didn't really care. And I don't watch the product that much, so there you go. I enjoy Pat McAfee more than I should. I like him on the broadcast stick. I think some of his little shenanigans there in the booth are a little unnecessary, I guess, but it's his thing and seems to be getting over, so anything gets over is good, right? And he's not bad in ring. I mean, that thing he did with Adam Cole was really good, actually. I mean, everything leading up to it. The podcast he did with him, I mean, that was really well done. Sold the shit out of it. Both of them did. AEW David in the house. Wonder what's on his mind. So aside from The Undertaker, which for me is the headline news of the day, but that's saying a lot because Samoa Joe shows up at the end of Ring of Honor and gets in the face of Jay Lethal. He's also signed to AEW. So I've already had plans that I was going to start this week with Samoa Joe coming to AEW. Damn it, they beat me to the punch. I don't have to worry about my second stream of WrestleMania because it's all old school stuff and they're not going to touch that. And with that in mind, by the way, I know I had said I was going to do WrestleMania Day 2 today. There's no point in doing it because there's so many different events going on where I work that my phone's going to keep blowing up and I won't be able to get a stream in that way. And I have to take the calls. So that said, I believe tomorrow morning I'll be good to go where I should hopefully be able to get through without interruption. And that's right now what I'm looking towards, and I will definitely tweet more information out on that. You can follow me on Twitter down below. There's the link. Pat McAfee was in a War Games. All right, well, like I said, I don't follow the product very closely anymore. I'm going to go NXT must have happened there if it was War Games. I didn't even realize he did that. I know they've had, 2 or 3 War Games now? But I had no idea that Pat McAfee was part of that. So who was on his team? I'm going to say he went up against the Undisputed Era, presumably. Johnny Emerson, what's happening, buddy? Yes, Johnny, everybody will be disappointed if that's his opponent. Unless Cody and or Bray Wyatt show up in some other fashion throughout the night or nights. But at the end of the day, that would be an epic fail. Especially with The Undertaker clearly alluding to the fact that he's going to do something over the next 2 days. And if it's Undertaker, do you do it on Saturday night 1? Or is that what's bigger than Undertaker and WrestleMania? That's McDonald's and French fries. You don't get a hamburger without French fries when you go to McDonald's. So, yeah, Seth, I have no doubt that Shane's going to be there and do something. Michael Hill, what's up with you, buddy? We're just talking about the big newses of the day. The Undertaker and his Hall of Fame speech, more accurately how he ended it, with the fact that it ain't over yet, and what that may mean and for whom it may mean. And, of course, Samoa Joe making his all-elite presentation at Ring of Honor. That's a pretty interesting lineup there, Blazed. I might actually want to go watch that. And that's still when NXT didn't, turn Saturday morning cartoon. I will not watch anything on NXT as long as they have this visual going on, because it just reeks of the 80s in a bad way. If not the early 90s. Snakebit Joe, what's up with that, Johnny? Yeah, McAfee does a good show. He's a good talker. He's got a good crew with him. He's entertaining. He speaks his mind, and you know it. And that's always going to be one of the biggest keys to anyone having success behind a microphone. You have to be true to yourself, because an audience will pick up on that in seconds. You can tell if somebody isn't being real. It was great seeing The Undertaker acknowledging several of the guys in his career, Shawn Michaels, The Godfather, and Kane, and the fact that they were all able to be there. I mean, they got lives too, and it's a big night to be there for, and they made the effort to be there. There were a lot of celebrities on that stage. I was a little disappointed that they didn't show who was on stage more. Now, because they decided to piggyback this event right off of SmackDown, which I'm not a big fan of that. I think this should have a dedicated night that starts much earlier. In the past, though, and I've been to 2 of these, the wrestlers sit in the front section on the floor. And the camera, it's like the Academy Awards. The camera's always panning around. The only difference is if you were to smack somebody on this show, it's okay. It's part of the act. But in this case, they never really did a good job, in my opinion, of showing who all was sitting on that stage. I remember, now I didn't know until late last night. I was like, well, what happened to the Hall of Fame? I thought that was supposed to be tonight. And then I find out it's coming on immediately after SmackDown. And I'm like, okay, they're going to have to obviously be in the same arena. I said, oh my God, these guys have got one hell of a task that they've got to flip that arena during a commercial break that's going to probably last 5 minutes. Now, part of the industry I'm in is very similar. We're in an arena, and we've got different, like tonight we have a big concert, and then tomorrow we have to flip it for another event. So I can tell you right now, even though all they did is take off a section of ropes, and then, the LED lighting is a flip of the switch on the computer to change the color schemes, but they had to assemble all those chairs on stage. Sounds like nothing. Trust me when I tell you, to coordinate that effort in that time frame, what they did was pretty damn impressive. And they pulled it off. Floss Jones music. Welcome aboard. How you doing? And by the way, there is another little elephant in the room, and I'm going to check on something right now because yeah. We are 9 subs away from 2,000. So we might do it right here. It could happen on this stream. I got the sound effects all the way up. So if people sub, it should be clicking over through Streamlabs and notifying us. It would be awesome if we pull it off on this stream. So if anyone is listening and you haven't yet decided to join us and comment, you can still hit that sub button. Also, click the bell notification while you're at it so you know when we go live. And follow me on Twitter because I always give a little bit of a heads up over there. Coolest wrestler of all time. What are we defining as cool? I mean, I would say Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock were probably the coolest so far as the guys you just wanted to hang out with. Oh, Scott Steiner. I'll say this. Now that he's off the roids, he seems like a more approachable human being. I've had 2 interactions with him in my life, and he's been an asshole both times. So, but I also know that he was traveling, 260, 70 days a year. He was roided up. Probably hadn't slept for shit. And in both cases, I did nothing. Uh-oh. Kyrell Stanton. Or Staten, I beg your pardon. Kyrell Staten, thank you for joining the nation. And then there were 8. All right, let's just get this done today. As much as I'd love to have had it happen on the old school WrestleMania Day 2 stream, man, I'd hate to not be here when it happens. I'd hate to happen while I'm at work and come back and see like 2001. It's like, shit, missed it. And I do got to go into work today, so let's get this done. We are so close. When he goes out, fans go crazy. Stone Cold. Or The Rock. I'm still sticking with those two. I mean, a lot of these guys just get massive pops. But I got to tell you, what he got last night, The Undertaker, was... And keep in mind, those fans had been there since 6:30 p.m. And now it's around midnight. And they sustained an ovation for 10 minutes before they let him speak. If that doesn't say something about your career, I don't know what else does. And I think that was a moment perhaps that really hit him. Blaze agrees with me on the stage. And Floss Jones, we are just enjoying this weekend that is going to be insane. Everyone is going to be trying to up each other. We've got Battle of the Belts 2 coming up next week on AEW. I have not seen the FTR Briscoes match. I will try and make sure I catch that at some point in time. And then that brings up another big question. Was that their way of getting the Briscoes out because of the controversy that exists? God forbid you speak your mind in this country anymore. You know, AEW, take a lesson right now before it's too late, before you decide to blackball these guys. Which is fine. They'll go to the NWA and they'll tear it up there. But before you make a stupid decision, maybe you take a look at the Walt Disney World stocks lately. Because they are plummeting. When you go woke, you go broke. We are sick of your shit. We do not want to hear it anymore. I could give a rat's ass if you're gay, you're bi. That's your damn business. But living in the state of Florida and having to listen to these assholes at the Walt Disney World company that I used to work for, that I considered going back to work for, and to hear them trying to fight Governor DeSantis on a simple bill that they call something that it's not. What the bill says, if you actually take a moment to read it, but no, we're not going to do that. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good news story. It simply says, no public educator has the right to discuss sexuality with a kindergartner, first, second, or third grader. I don't know. I live in a crazy world where maybe the parents should be doing that. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything about shunning gay people. But that's how they tweak it, and that's how they turn it, and that's how they have to. How did I get on that? Oh, the Briscoes. Yeah. Going back over the comments. So anyway, that's where Disney's at right now because they are openly fighting against this bill and because they will no longer, if you haven't heard Disney news, because I'm sure a lot of you guys follow it closely, as it's effective immediately, it's already happening now, they will no longer have the pre-recorded announcement that says, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because they don't want to leave anyone out. Now it's dreamers of all ages. Who would you leave out with ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? That's everybody. If you're a guy who thinks he's a girl, you're a guy who thinks he's a girl. So you'll fall into either category you want. You can determine that you're under the ladies category or you're gentleman's category that likes to be ladies. Whichever one, there's only two to choose from. Everything else is what you perceive yourself to be. But it doesn't change the fact that there's only two. In the world, there's only two. So their stocks are plummeting right now as video has leaked. And about how they're just going left to the point where there's just so bad that families don't feel safe bringing their kids there anymore. Like they're going to be indoctrinated or something. and their stocks are going in the toilet. Well, Tony, you're not publicly traded. You have that going for you, and I wouldn't recommend you do. But you still have a fan base. And if you haven't figured out that a wrestling fan base is not made up predominantly of left-leaning sociopaths, then you haven't done any studies. These are fans that want it real. They don't want watered down, and we don't crack because somebody says something that hurts our feelings. We don't give a shit. It's been happening that way for years. Now you go back and you look at wrestling interviews from the past that couldn't. It's kind of like Blazing Saddles. You couldn't have that promo today. Hell, Vince McMahon backstage talking to John Cena, dropping the N-bomb. And that wasn't that long ago. But did everyone melt down over it? Did it get a shock value? Yeah, it got a shock value. That's what it was supposed to do. Do you think Booker wasn't in on it? Of course he was in on it. Dark Selfie, welcome aboard. I got rambling here. I believe Seth Rollins is a night one. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And you know what? I did not realize they were on the Impact show, D-Train, and that's great news to hear because, hey, you know what? If Tony, you don't want us, we'll go to Impact and NWA. We're good. But you are buying the Ring of Honor, and it would behoove you to keep some of the icons of Ring of Honor, to keep the fan base that's already there. Because if you turn it into something that's not overnight, especially, you might gradually have another vision for it that you can ease into. But if you're just going to slap a rainbow-colored paint job on the arena and on the ring and think that's going to get over with that crowd, I don't think so. So I hope he does the right thing, and I hope he keeps the Briscoes there, and a great feud with FTR where maybe they end up getting the belts back at some point in time. It writes itself. I mean, think about this. You know, you have the FTRs, you have the OKGs, you got the Greshams. These are the Ring of Honor faithful, and now we've been bought out by this other guy, and he's bringing his people in because they weren't getting enough damn TV time. I'm giving away too much of my plans right now. But it writes itself. It does, and it's fun, and it'll be exciting. Don't screw the pooch. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. These guys did nothing that bad. Simple and plain. The man said something years ago. He apologized for it after the fact. You know, if it's somebody on the left that apologizes, all is forgiven. Not a problem at all. You got that bitch Samantha Bee on TBS. That's why I won't watch TBS anymore. You got her on TBS doing what's supposed to be some sort of an entertainment/talk show. It's god-awful from what I hear, and the ratings certainly support that. Who called the daughter of the President of the United States a feckless C-word. And they aired it. And there was no punitive actions taken. And if anything, now that's why her ratings are in the toilet, because nobody wants to hear this talentless hack saying something like that. But they can get away with it and keep a TV show. Nick Cannon, oh my God. Everyone seems to have real short attention spans in this country nowadays. Nick Cannon said some of the most racist shit a year and a half ago. And I'm like, okay, well, there goes the Masked Singer. And he's still hosting the damn show. There was no apologies. There was no, doesn't reflect the views of our network nor our show. He just keeps on hosting talent shows. But the Briscoes, no, you gots to go. No, I'm sorry, folks. No candy coating shit. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. If you're not threatening physical violence on somebody or encouraging others to perform physically violent acts, then you're allowed to have an opinion, period. You're allowed to tell a joke and not get smacked in the face for it. But we live in a very soft society nowadays. But the other side is starting to wake up, and they're starting to push back. And that's what's in the news. See, hey, our very first broadcast of What's News, and we are bringing the real world news into the world of pro wrestling and how the two interact. That's what this is all about. I'm going to like this one. So wait a minute. They fought twice last night. I'm going to guess the Impact was a taping earlier in the afternoon. Get me up to speed on that, Blaze. And who did they lose to over at Impact? And you're right. Danielson, Punk, and Joe all were part of the glory days of the ROH, and all of which, I guarantee you, every one of those names will do an appearance in Ring of Honor now. They'll want to. And again, it writes itself. I don't want to keep on going with what could be because I'm going to be doing a lot of it right here on this channel. So that's why when you see me building this AEW ROH roster right now, because that's where my head is at. I can do so much stuff with this content and have it still be plausible because it's not like we're doing this time warp thing where all of a sudden wrestlers in the 70s are teleported into today. That can't happen. What I'm going to be doing here, for the most part, could happen. I take a little bit of licensing when it comes to contractual obligations and people that may not be available but are still physically possible to happen. Things like that. But for the most part, everything you'll see when it comes to that variation of my 2K22 season is going to be completely plausible. Bran, what's up? Now, you know what? I was a big Fox News guy until election night. And then that was it. I was done with Fox News and haven't gone back since. I feel that they were part of the problem that night when it comes to election results, and I'll leave it at that. But there are better sources of information. The next day to hear that they came out and said, we hear you. We hear. No, you don't hear us. You hear us when we turn off the TV channel and stop watching you. Like CNN and CNBC, who all of a sudden are now reporting real news because they had no choice. Their base was gone. They've got no ratings. Matter of fact, I did a stream a couple weeks ago that got, right now, I think it was up to 5,600 views, 5,600 views. That might be more than they had watching CNN last night. I don't know. Oh, so they did ROH first, then went to Impact. My God, well, so what time of the night were they doing Impact taping? Or was that a live? Was Impact also live last night? No. They didn't have a pay-per-view. I'm so confused. There's so much wrestling this weekend. It's going to make your head explode. So they wrestled the Good Brothers on Impact, who have lost the tag team titles over there, which made me think they were leaving to go to AEW, which I was like, oh, come on, man. Don't take everybody. Because I'm actually starting to really enjoy the Impact roster. Hell, I actually found the first opportunity for me to like Josh Alexander. Up till now, I've just not been a fan. But he did a spot last week, I think, or the week before, where he was in jeans and like a wife beater or something like that. Didn't have that stupid singlet outfit on or the wrestling gear thing on with the head. He just looks campy in that crap. He came out looking like a guy who was pissed, looking like a guy who was trying to get a hold of somebody who did him wrong, and cut a quick promo of some sort that was good. And it was the first time I actually was feeling like, all right, I actually want to hear what this guy's got to say. I want to see him in the ring. But stay looking like this. He had like a Diamond Dallas Page vibe going on. We are at 1,993 subs. 7 away. 7. Can we do it on this stream? If you've got social media out there, share this with somebody. Get them on over. Get the eyes here. See if they want to get involved in the conversation. Johnny, they're doing it. They are teaching it. And maybe not teaching is the wrong word. Perhaps that's the wrong word. It's not like they have a classroom environment where they're now going to talk about sexuality. What they are doing is opening doors for the conversation. So, it made national news, and I forget what state it was in. I'd have to believe California, but not necessarily. And even I didn't know this yet. So, normally your teacher is what? Mr. So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so. Why do they get 3 and we get 1? What's up with that shit? Those are the options you generally have for your teacher. Well, now there's MEX, MX. So Mex Jones. Mex means that that person identifies as something other than what they are. And when you say, my name is Mex Jones, well, what is a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old going to... Why do you call yourself Mex? Oh, and this is an actual thing that happened. This actually happened recently. And it goes into the whole thing about how that I'm a guy biologically, but I identify as a woman, or vice versa. I don't remember which one was. But now they've opened the door for this conversation in the classroom. Kids are going home to their parents saying, oh, Mex Jones is actually a guy, but pretending to be... And parents are losing their minds. It's like, this is not what we're sending our kids to school for. Reading, writing, arithmetic, history, maybe some phys ed if you want to bring that back. God knows we need it in this country. Your sexual encounters, not on the agenda. And let me go a little further here. I was a teacher in this county here in Florida for several years. I coached athletic sports for 16 years. So I've been working in classroom environments, in school environments with student athletes for many years. And I can assure you, none of this shit would fly around here. Which is why I have to believe it was a California area thing. You know, in talking about this, so the main sport that I coached was basketball. And with my teams, I would always preach a high-pressure defense. I just believed in it. The more that we can pressure them, the more bad decisions they will make because they won't have time to get comfortable or to get into a routine. If you don't know about basketball, in order to do a press, especially a full-court press, that first trap, which is where you're taking 2 of your defenders and trying to trap the person with the ball so that they can't advance it any further and they have to throw a pass. And by them throwing the pass, now it is completely on your team's obligation to read where the pass is going, to jump out there and to intercept it. Well, when you're teaching that initially, that trap almost never works in the beginning. It takes time to develop the timing, the trust in your teammates. It's a process. And during that process, whether it be at practice or trying to implement it in games, inevitably that trap fails. And the person either dribbles around it, dribbles through it, already got rid of the ball. And now these 2 people have to run their asses off and try and get back on defense before it ends up being a layup. And here we are in a practice, or here we are in a game, and I'm calling a timeout. And I'm like, you guys are trying to shut the barn doors after the horses have gotten out. You let the horses done run down, now you want to close the gate. It's too late now. And that's what's happening right now with this stuff. That's exactly what's happening. Y'all left the gate open, and now you want to cry about it. That it's infiltrating your schools and your kids. Hey, is what it is, man. If you let the gate open, that's what's going to happen. And again, Tony Khan, this comes back to wrestling. The Briscoes, do not get rid of them. For the love of God, grow a set of balls and say, he shared his opinions. We don't agree with his opinions. But you don't mind letting, who are the 2 jokers that went up against the Young Bucks last night? Darius and his brother there. I'm sorry, drawing a blank on the names right now. You don't mind letting them wear BLM bands on their arms. Well, that's offensive to a lot of people. And it's not a race issue. It's about what BLM has really been doing. It's not about equality. I think we all can agree that equality belongs to everyone. But when they're using instances, and every instance they've used has all fallen apart in their face, that people are behaving badly, that's what brought the bad outcome. They weren't following lawful instruction and things of that nature, which then led to a bad situation. you're not representing the innocent. But either way, I support them wearing those if that's their belief. You let the gate open, you let the horses run free, and now you've got this happening in your classrooms in America. Not all of America. Not all of America. There's a state like Florida, that ain't going to happen. And that's why we have a governor who just passed a bill that's outlawing it. If a teacher does that, they can lose their position completely. And they can even have legal ramifications, as it should be. Parents have a job to be parents. Somehow, the government has tried to let schools and teachers step into that role and almost take it over. I forget which state, and I should know more of this. It's so much of it in the head that it's hard to keep it all in order. But whoever it was that just recently got voted out of office, because he said right before election, he said parents have no business being involved in the education decisions for their kids. And he wonders why he got destroyed in the election. But they believe that. And that's because people left the gate open. And then the horses got out. Good luck. Now we have to try and catch them all up and bring them back into the pen. Impact was live? Holy shit. Now they don't do live too much, do they? Multiverse of matches. Oh, I heard that term. I just didn't I didn't realize they were going live last night. I would have at least recorded it and watched it. So they lost to the Good Brothers, who don't have tag team titles anymore. Oh, wait a minute. Did they win the tag team titles back? Hold the phone. I only skimmed through Impact this week. I didn't have a chance to really sit down and watch it. I did a lot of fast forwarding just to kind of gloss over it and see what happened. But I don't remember them having the belts when they came out. I could be wrong. The Jerry Lawler promo about Goldust. I guess we're going back in time just a little bit. I do vaguely recall something now that you're mentioning it. And even then, think about that, Goldust. Could that happen today? It couldn't happen today. Sonny Kiss could get away with it today. But you couldn't have Dustin Rhodes playing a role of a gay guy when he's not gay. There's no way. People would be boycotting. You're making light of our situation and our plight. It's a freaking role, man. We don't take shit seriously here. I'm sorry. We roll with the punches, man. We wrestling fans. That's how it is. We grew up with people that would occasionally insult us. That's just the way it is. Who's carrying Impact now? What do you mean by that? Like, who's the workhorse for the show, or what network? It's on Access TV, I think, right? I recorded, so I don't even know what network it's on per se. I just know I got the show. It was on Access TV for a long time. I know that much. $1,994 subs. We are 6 away. And it's almost noon. Yeah, I think it's Access. Well, actually, I can check right now. I'll tell you. I got the Google machine right here. Yep, Access TV, AXS, Access. Yeah, I remember they have some stuff, Jamon. I don't watch the network for anything. Like I said, I have the show pre-recorded or preset in my DVR for recording, so I don't watch any of their other programming, but I do recall they had some good stuff. Speaking of shows that I'm not seeing back yet and kind of thought by now might be, Dark Side of the Ring, anyone got an update on that? They may have done a little damage with the Ric Flair flight episode. Between Ric Flair and Tommy Dreamer, it got a little too real, and then these guys all of a sudden found themselves losing positions and jobs, and I think a lot of people now that would normally have gone on Dark Side of the Ring for one of these stories are going to start second-guessing themselves as to, well, how's this thing going to turn out? How am I going to look in it? Am I going to get in trouble for something I did 25 years ago? And I did not realize that they have spin-off shows which include Dark Side of Football and Dark Side of the 90s. Usually when you start doing that, things go down. That's kind of like The Walking Dead, and then the Fear of the Walking Dead, and then whatever that other one was that only lasted like 7 or 8 episodes, which was at least 4 too many. And I'm a big Walking Dead fan. I'm just, yeah, enough is enough. And now they got spin-offs coming up of Walking Dead. When they finish up in another few months, their show will be done. But then you got Daryl and Carol get a spin-off show, and now Maggie and Negan are getting a spin-off show. I just don't know that those can survive so much. And I'm not seeing anything here about when the next season starts airing. But I thought they'd be back up and running by now. Indeed, Blazed. Hey, I'm a big Fonzie fan. I actually picked up a Funko Pop of him a few weeks ago over at GameStop. They had a couple of Happy Days things, and I'm like, what did I got here? There's Potsy and there's Richie. I was like, oh, man, they got to have Fonzie. And I'm looking. I got the last one. That's all I care about. And he is up on my shelf in the living room. I'm not a huge Funko Pop guy. I mean, I've got some, mostly wrestlers, but how's getting me a Fonzie? I can tell you that right now. Still the reason I bought a motorcycle. You're surprised Goldust didn't get a correction. Are you referring to the network and Peacock, or in live time at that time? Because that was the Attitude Era, man. Nobody was going to correct shit. And that's my whole point. Not only did we all get through the Attitude Era and we came out all right, it was the highest ratings period for professional wrestling across the board. Now that everybody's woke, nobody's watching the programs. By the way, since we're in the game also, and that's part of what this stuff is all about, I had mentioned a while back, last week actually, that I downloaded a Butcher, and I said sooner or later this guy's going to do the Blade. Well, it's later. Let's go ahead and take a look. I've already downloaded it, so we can go into depth on that as well, but I want to give cred where it's due. Let me go. I don't remember which creator it is yet, so I'm going to just highlight all of them, which is kind of what I do on a daily basis. Go to most recent in this case because I've already seen the other stuff. And there he is right there. We've got new Bryan Danielson. This is Hacksaw House TLC. This guy is really killing it. He's just producing some really top-notch quality stuff here. I'm not sure what system he's on. He could be on the PC because I don't see a logo there. So I know it's not a PS account. And there is the Blade. So now that means I'm going to get rid of the other Blade that I already downloaded and go with this because I think that's a heck of a match. And I'm going to try and figure out Hacksaw House TLC. I wonder if he's on YouTube in some way. I'd love to interview this guy. Bugsy McGraw. I hadn't seen that one before. Jimmy Valiant. Got a couple of them sneaking in here that I didn't see get in there. I did see Mad Dog. Jimmy's looking solid. The Boogie Woogie Man. And that is, of course, Uvular Wall. Or Uvular Wall. I'm not sure how he pronounces it, but he's been around for a minute. And as you can see there, he is on the PlayStation system. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see if we can do a collab and have him come on and talk about his stuff, because he does such good work, and he's definitely in the old school mindset. Got a Pro Wrestling Illustrated t-shirt on. Look at these. Even got that goofy hat going on. This is really good work. And he generally always does really good work, but Bugsy McGraw. So if you guys are looking for any of that kind of stuff, there you have it. And again, the blade is Hacksaw House TLC. And he's been banging out some good stuff. Abaddon. I always want to say Abandon. Abaddon. By Dre. Oh, and we do need Brian Cage, because guess he showed up too, didn't he? Was he not at Ring of Honor? For Brian Cage, he doesn't make the headlines because of everything else that took place, and that's another Dre, so I can't go wrong with that, I know. Two different hairstyles. Okay, I was going to say they look identical to me. What's different? So the hairstyles are different. He's got the movesets in. Beautiful. And that's the thing I love about Dre. You don't have any work to do. Just download and play. So I did read someplace that Brian Cage also had something to do with the Ring of Honor show. Am I correct in saying that? Oh, did we get a couple more? How come my thing's not dinging away here? I thought the sound effect machine would kick in by now. Let me refresh. According to my counter here, we're at 1,995 subs. We are 5 away from 2,000. Let's do this. Let's go. I'm feeling it, man. We can do this. Lucius, how are you, my friend? And there's Dre right there. Boom. Dre, I did something a couple of years ago. I didn't do it last year because 2K20 was a hot mess and nobody wanted to create crap for that. And I was going to make it a more regular thing where we do either on camera or at least microphone interview, kind of like Inside the Actor Studio with James Lipton back in the day, but about the people who are creating these really strong pieces of work. So if you're so interested, hit me up on Twitter or something like that, and by all means, we'll schedule something, and I'd like to do that on a regular basis with some of these creators. But your work has been amongst the tops by far, and looking forward to checking this guy out in a second. And I know you said, if I'm not mistaken, you're working on some Briscoes, I believe is what we discussed in a recent stream. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Lucius, to your point, he does it slowly because he wants to make sure it's right. And take a look at that. That's right. Let's take a look at it closer, shall we? Creations, thank you, Superstar. And edit. Yeah, D-Train, they always estimate numbers on that count, unless it's just, let me refresh mine over here. Maybe it's on a slower timeline so far as when it brings up the new numbers. Maybe it's got to go through a filtration process. Let's see. God knows it takes long enough to refresh. Now it's still showing 1995, which was a great year. Excellent. Briscoe's, Jurassic Express, and Hook. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing all that. And yeah, by all means, hit me up, man, because I would love to pick your brain. Tully Blanchard Enterprises, which is a great idea, by the way, and I'm glad to see that he's still... I was wondering what they were going to do with him. I didn't know if maybe he just said, listen, I'm tired of traveling, I'm an older guy. But to know that he's not out of the landscape and that he's got Tully Blanchard Enterprises, I think is brilliant. And looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. The year that Blaze graduated college. Well, hey, you can't forget that, right? Okay, let's see where we at here. Yeah, Brenshaw, Brody King, Brian Cage. Yeah, it's perfect because we need to get the thumbnail thing going on anyway. So, now one of the things, and we'll discuss this if we get to do this interview process, that the Creation Suite has taken from us. There's a lot it's given us. And I'll talk about something else if you guys remind me. I'll probably get sidetracked now. But just remind me about yesterday's stream and changing matches on the fly in universe mode, which you can actually do. But what you can't do, you used to be able to pick a body size and you used to be able to, tweak it a little bit here. But then you could go in and change just the chest and change just the abs and just the thighs. You can't do that anymore. You got to pick one of the bodies. So to make it look that good, and I know he's used textures and stuff like that, but it looks that good, so why not? And that's the thinking outside the box that you have to do when they put these limitations. But again, as always, a really solid job on the face scan and even a super up close. Normally you'll see like the nostrils on the face scan don't quite line up with the nostrils. You don't see that with this one. Same thing with the eyes. A lot of times the white of the eye will get into the eyelid. You don't see that with this one. So that's when you know you've got a top-notch CAW creator doing their thing. So, and again, most of the time when you see these guys in action, it's going to be from way back here anyway. So any small things like that really aren't going to get seen too much, especially now that they don't do promos anymore in universe mode. So there's no reason for the camera to get too tight. But this is superb work. And there is Brian Cage. And we've got the second attire. And again, it looks like the only real difference is he's got his mohawk style. So let's take a quick look at that. Because here's another distinct difference that would often happen. And that is sometimes to get the hair to look right, you have to morph the head in some unnatural ways to make the hair look right. So to go with two separate hairstyles, and on this one, yeah, for the second costume, it won't let you just have the character on screen. So you can only get around it so much. But to be able to go with a mohawk style, a flat buzz cut like that, and still have the head shaped right, says a lot as well. So that is a grade A Brian Cage. And I'm glad to see that they did find a use for him. And that he didn't end up going to WWE because, yeah, I think they would have brought him in and put him somewhere up, maybe NXT. I don't know if they would have put him straight onto the main roster or not. That's a good pose for him. And I just like changing signs around. That works. I don't know why I hate the generic signs. I mean, these are generic as well, but they're not the four that are always with every wrestler, which I just feel like those are the worst four that they picked. Good enough. Just to give us some extra signs in the audience. And then we'll save them on all four slots because now that matters. It hits different. Yeah, D-Train, that's what I've been doing a lot of. And then here's the downside to that. It won't be too bad with Blade because I don't think Blade had a lot of attachments to him so far as images are concerned. But some of these others that I've downloaded and then found something of higher quality and then downloaded them instead, then I got to go through my utility and delete all those logos, and that can take a few minutes. But as I've said in the past, never delete a wrestler and the content that's associated with it in one step. It will screw up your world. I'm telling you right now. And it's been like that for not just this game, even 2K20, 2K19. It's time consuming, but you will have a much smoother experience if you just go through the utility and separately remove the icons and the images. Good point. They did take out the hit points. They used to D-Train, I don't know if you remember, they used to let you do your own signage. You could import images and it would be on a sign. That's going back to THQ. But that was something that was in the game, and honestly, I don't understand why it's not. I mean, if we can do renders now for the face of the, the upper body of the wrestler for the preview screen, I don't really see what the problem is. All right, let's take a look at Blade. Once again, edit customs. And I don't even think I had put the Butcher and Blade together as a team yet in the universe mode, so that's going to... Normally I wouldn't delete him until I put them together first, but in this case, since I haven't done it yet, nothing to lose. So I was mentioning yesterday, so I'm doing the stream yesterday for day one of WrestleMania using the current day roster and how I would have booked it. And we're getting about, 3 matches in, and I'm like, oh shit. I didn't put Kevin Owens and Stone Cold in, and I'm thinking a million miles a minute, how am I going to make this happen? Do I leave the universe mode during a commercial break and jump into just regular gameplay mode and do the match that way? And I'm looking right at the screen there, and it says edit match, which normally in all the other games, once you've started a show, that's your match card. You're not changing it. Well, damn, you can change it. Literally, it was supposed to be Drew McIntyre going up against Sheamus. Boom, gone. Nobody wanted to see that. And I was able to swap out, and then I'm thinking, okay, it's going to crash the game. And it didn't. So I give the positives where they are, because we're going to call them out for the things that aren't. I'm going to guess it's under the Blade. Probably under a T. Let's see. Am I right? The Godfather, the Butcher, the Blade, and the Candlestick Maker. Let's edit, shall we? Also going to refresh my analytics page real quick and see if we've hit the magic number yet. Nope, we're still at 1995. 5 away from 2,000. If you are watching the stream, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the road to 2,000 subs, and we're 5 away. If you haven't already clicked the sub button, go ahead and do it. What you waiting for? God blazed, yes. Oh my God, I've been saying that for years. Import to Universe, the same way we do a show outside Universe and you import it. Why the hell can't they do that with tag teams? Because what I end up doing is making all my tag teams in Universe mode. Then if I want to just kind of play a match, they're not in tag teams outside of Universe mode. And you have 2 choices. Either they have separate entrances, or you got to make the thing all over again. And yeah, that's time-consuming crap right there. All right, let's get a close-up look at the Blade, a.k.a. Mr. Bunny. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. Once again, nostrils are looking good. There's not a big differential there or anything like that. It's a good face scan. Got the physique right and everything else going there. He's got the Blade logo perfect. And this is a little easier one to do in the sense that you don't have 1,000 images to worry about. which is also good from a download standpoint. It's not going to hurt you too much adding him to your roster. But that looks really good. Very good. And he is now going to be the blade that I go with. And he even changed signs up, which is a bonus. And I still don't know why you have to actually do this. You have to import an image and then delete it. Otherwise, it'll still save with that silhouette stupid thing in the background. And set up. All right, we're good. We are good. And again, this is the first time where clicking on each option, each section, is mandatory. It actually matters. Because if you don't, then it won't save those changes there. And that could be a good thing. Like I said, you might want to have somebody at different points in their career. And you can make them totally separate. Does Custom Universe work? I'm scared. You have every right to fear. Dre, it's worked fine for me. I haven't yet gotten into, and next week it starts for me. I've been building my AEW roster. I still have to tweak some last minute stuff, and then there'll always be something I missed afterwards, and I'll have to go back and do that later. My first month of streaming a new game is always the worst. But it hasn't done anything to the game for me. I mean, has it crashed once in a while? Yeah, but it does that. That's part of its charm. But it hasn't, like, locked up and frozen out or anything like that. And I've got a lot of stuff downloaded now. I'm almost completely filled on roster spots. I'm at that point now where I'm going to have to start deleting some along the way, starting with right now. But it's worked fine for me. I've had no problems. Since the patch, the first patch, the 1.07, up until then, it wouldn't work because if you had too many logos, then it would just shut down automatically. So the first part, all I was doing was the old school wrestlers that are part of the game, that are standard roster. And it was under the T. So this is the one I was going to use, but unfortunately he's been trumped. And we're going to delete that. Thank you for playing, even though you never really did. And I don't think there's anything else new to... Oh, I can get rid of these now. Oh, I don't know if anybody's interested. I'm going to see... let's try it this way. If I can upload them, I will. Chris Rock and Will Smith from yesterday. Online, yes. If I can upload them, I'll do that right now. So let's see. Uploads. Superstars. I've got one up there. What the heck is it? I don't even remember. And it's not showing anybody. I'm going to move over to the second slot because while it's not showing anyone, doesn't mean that, yeah, like I guess my Ronda Rousey is still up there. Okay. So Will Smith and Chris Rock are both there. So let's see if we can upload them. And you'll always be able to find any of the content that I do by searching for One Nation. There's that. Boom. And we'll put Chris Rock up there. Oh, already had One Nation. I could have saved the step. All right, so if anybody wants to download Chris Rock and Will Smith and beat the crap out of each other on the set of the Academy Awards or whatever stage you might want to put them on, there you go. Chris Rock, well, both of these guys are without face scans. I do my stuff old school style because I've just not been happy with my face scans. It's just as much as I tweak them here and there, just, yeah, I prefer going this way. Before we delete them, I'll give you guys a quick look Up close and personal, if you will. How do you guys know that I'm 4 away when I'm not seeing it? Hold on a minute. And I'm not hearing anything. Streamlabs is supposed to identify and let me know if that... Yeah, you're right, though. It did go up. But it hasn't shown up through Streamlabs. Interesting. Unless there's a delay. But we are at 1,996 subs. 4 away from the magic number. Oh, let's do this. Come on. Let me go to work on a happy note and then get to work and be crushed. Yeah, Blaze has been doing a lot, and he does a lot more custom than I do. So believe me, if it were going to crash, it would crash on him long before me. Yeah, he's all custom. At least with mine, I've got probably 80% custom. Yeah, D-Train, I'm surprised that we're still stuck at 100. And I'm more surprised we're stuck at 1,000 on images. Because it's not a systems issue. The system can handle it, especially if you have an external drive. Which most people do. And if you don't, then you have the option. You can always get one, or then you can, be limited to whatever yours can maintain. Roger Pace, hey, we're just talking about all the news and all the things. We were talking about The Undertaker and his induction into the Hall of Fame, as well as his parting comments, where he said, never say never. Closely followed by a Seth Rollins package that I think is a smoke screen. Smoke and mirrors. You get it? Talking about Samoa Joe and ROH, the Briscoes and the FTR. WrestleSense. Oh, it's Blaze. Blaze helping by cheating a little. It's all good, man. I appreciate it. I wonder if that had something to do with why it didn't come through Streamlabs. I'm still learning a lot of this stuff. By the way, with the Streamlabs shop, I'm still waiting because, like I said, I ordered one of my mugs so I can see what the quality of the stuff is, and I don't want anyone going out to support the channel and then getting something that's kind of crappy. So I ordered a mug figuring, okay, if you can't get that right, then shirts probably aren't going to be too good either. That said, it hasn't shown up as a sale in my merchandise store at all. It is charged to my credit card, so I know there's a mug probably on the way in the next week or so. And when it comes here, I will show it to you guys. I'll tell you my thoughts and ideas on it. But if I'm not getting paid for it, then what's the point? And then I'll have to find another option in another store. D-Train, thank you so much. I'm not the only one with multiple channels, huh? Is that how it works? We've all got our alter egos and our aliases. I barely even go on my other channel at this point in time. Still showing 1996, but there's a delay in the process, I've learned. But we'll keep an eye out. Roger, man, it's not even a short clip. If you watch it, the first 9 to 10 minutes is just this crowd who's been there all night long, sat through 2 hours of SmackDown, had to listen to Sharmell, which if that don't put me to... I skipped over Sharmell. It's like, when you think that Sharmell's in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and then start going through the list of names that aren't. I'm just saying. So anyway, I decided to skip over that. These folks went nuts for 10 straight minutes. Everything from just playing cheering to chanting from "You deserve it," one more match, whatever. And the guy couldn't get a word out. And yeah, he started getting emotional. He was breaking character, so to speak, even though he was finally not having to be in it. Macho Man, I love it. The channel of the guy you help out. Okay, well, now the channel of the guy you help out is helping out this guy. So I appreciate him. I appreciate you. And the nation. As we are climbing rung by rung. Let me refresh again. And we are at 1,997 subs. 3 away. 3. We got this. I got to figure out through Streamlabs why it's not registering. Very odd to me. Let me refresh that as well. Because it has the ones from yesterday that are there. Oh, now all of a sudden, after I refresh it. Oh, wait, no. We got another person, I think. That might be a new dude. The Chaos Reaper. Atticus Black, CRW. Thank you and welcome to the nation. Now, is that somebody's second channel or is that the Macho? No, it would have said Macho Man, wouldn't it? Well, I'll tell you what, let me go here. Let me refresh this. Maybe it's a refresh issue. Not so sure. Still showing 1997. 1,997. 3 away. I will continue to refresh this thing occasionally because it does seem to be a bit of a delay. A Macho Man impersonator. There you go. Now, do you mean vocally or does he actually get in full regale? Blaze, you're the man. And once again, Chaos Reaper, thank you so much. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy the content. Come for the alcohol, stay for the content. That's what I say. All right, was there another recent upload? Oh, I got to get rid of. That's what I was doing. So those are uploaded. If anybody wants Chris Rock and Will Smith to do your own WrestleMania match with or whatever you want to do, there they are. I'm going to get rid of them, though, because I definitely need the slots a whole lot more than I need those two personalities. By the way, I just want to say right now, Sky Blue, I need more of her on my TV. Her wrestling has improved a lot in a year's time. She was on NWA doing a lot of stuff there, kind of in the COVID time frame when they were starting to do some stuff again without an audience in the place. But I thought she had some potential there. She's just gorgeous in all kinds of ways. And I thought her match last night was pretty good, too. I mean, we knew she was going to lose, but that all said, she looked good in losing. And not just because she looks good. I might end up getting rid of this one. It's just taking up a slot, and I don't... Aside from the fact that he doesn't have the bandana, is it worth it? I don't know. We'll see. But some of these guys, like JP, or some of them are going to have to drop off now because I'm running out of space. And as good as this looks, I am really looking forward to Dre's. Because I got a pretty strong sensation that it's going to beat this one. And that's not an easy thing to do because this one's solid. Anybody else? Anybody else? And I really can't say enough about this Chris Statlander and how good it looks. And I liked the little promo they did on her last night. I thought that was well done. Just well done. AEW's come a long way in the last year. They're not the backyard wrestling boys anymore. And while he may never completely admit it, he does to a certain extent. He says, hey, we listen to everybody out there, especially the influencers. So he acknowledges that he listens to Jim Cornette, and that's a good thing because Jim Cornette has a lot of good advice for AEW. And there's times where it's like, yeah, pretty sure he's listening to that. What I don't get is why he doesn't continue that trend. Case in point, when they were in Orlando, I don't know what it was, 3 months ago maybe, and I went with a girlfriend. She'd never been to wrestling before, so I said, well, you're going to go see this because this is the hottest product on the market right now. And that was the night Cody and Malachi had their go-home match. That was the last hurrah. And there was a reason I was bringing it up. What the hell was the reason? It wasn't Statlander. We're getting there. Mark Caliber 17, Commonwealth. Welcome aboard, buddy. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Appreciate the sub. Hope you enjoy the content. And there was a reason I was bringing up that damn card. What the hell was it? That was the question. 1,998. We are 2 away from 2K. I just wrote that. I swear to God. Well, it'll come back to me later, maybe. That's why I was going with that. Too much on my mind right now. Jungle Boy. Oh, we were talking about Cornette. Yes, okay, it's all back now. He had said about wrestling in general that it is, and if this isn't common sense, it is stupid that when somebody's getting beat down in the ring and the numbers game and all that stuff, and a friend is going to come out from the back, he doesn't come out until his music hits first. And it's like, what kind of stupid shit is that? You got to wait for the music to come out and save your friend's ass. What if the record don't play? Then what happens, you know? And that was the night CM Punk came running out to help, I believe, Darby and Sting. I don't even remember now, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Sting was getting beat down, if I'm not mistaken. And CM Punk came running out, and he wasn't even in traditional CM Punk wear. And then that was the only appearance he made on the night. It's a long trip for a run-in. I wasn't sure it was him at first. I didn't know who the hell it was. He's wearing like a black hoodie. The hood was down, but I mean, he's sprinting, and I'm in the, $50 seats, so you're only seeing so much from there. And the fans up close at first didn't even know how to react, and then it kind of like a wave. It started to creep over the audience as to who it was, and then finally you could see him on the screen. But that's the way it should have been. Your buddy's getting beat up, you run your ass down there and you fight for him. You don't wait for the music to hit and I need a fanfare and all. So he brings a lot of good points, and the thing is, that's the only time Tony did it. And it was great, and it worked, and that's the way it should be. And now he's back to playing music every time somebody runs in. So there's that. I like this Sean Spears quite a bit, too. Another really good quality work. Butchering the blade side by side. And I'll only have 2. No, I was going to say, damn, I got 6 slots left to play with. Plus, I can delete, like I said, some of those others. Oh, I was going to pull those up and look at them with you guys real quick, but too late. But generally speaking, I try to do without the face scans now. I just... For myself, personally, if I'm creating something, I prefer the way it looks that way. This Tony Khan is not mine. I did one on 2K19, which I like the way that turned out as well. And I had tried several face scans. Just never really liked them. But then when I just said, screw it, let me just try it without, I was like, yeah, damn, like that. Two away from 2K. Thank you again, Blaze. Appreciate it. And Mark, thank you for being here, man. I hope you enjoy the content. Tony Storm, she is freaking gorgeous. I mean, I always thought she was drop dead gorgeous, but then you see some of these pictures from her fans only page or whatever that I guess people leaked out. You got to figure it's the internet. It's going to get out one way or another. Wrestling gear can be flattering, but there was a lot more left to flatter that I just wouldn't have believed was hiding under all that. So, yeah, she's drop dead gorgeous. And she's great in the ring. I mean, it's nice that you're a good-looking girl, but some of those good-looking girls can't do shit, and it's like, move along, please. But she is the total package. And the reaction she got, it's been a very emotional week in wrestling, because she, was basically being made to feel like she was never going to be that person. It's like, kind of like Dusty used to say, yeah, but we got somebody else in mind for that, baby. That's not for you. That's not for you. That's going to go to somebody else. And she was kind of getting that story, it sounds like, and realized, you know what? I think I can get over, and I think I am that person. And, man, it's a big thing when you roll the dice on yourself like that. And she did. Left the biggest sports entertainment company on the face of the earth. Massive merch opportunities and all that kind of stuff because she believed in herself. And then to walk out the door day one in a new company, and you could see how legit it was, man. She froze. She looked around, and she had that. It wasn't even a real laugh. It was just emotions getting out. And she realized she did the right thing in that moment. There had to be a lot of trepidation, a lot of speculation. She had to be thinking, is this a mistake? And the moment she walked through that curtain, I think she realized, nope, this is what I should have been doing. And then at the end of the match, the reaction. I mean, it was the most honest, emotional, raw emotion thing. And it made you realize that, and hopefully it's opening eyes and doors for a lot of other people in the industry. The WWE is not the answer for everybody, and they are not the only game in town. And thank God for that. And I think we're at a point now where Vince doesn't even give a shit anymore because he knows he's leaving soon. Whether he sells it, whether he just, he's not a young man, let's be honest. He looks great for his age. He actually looked better yesterday walking out for the Undertaker thing. He looked healthier and younger than he's looked on most of the stuff I've seen him in. Like when he was in his office and Seth Rollins was dancing on his desk, I thought he looked pretty sad at that point. I was like, man, he's really starting to, he's old. He's 80 years old. I mean, Jesus. Not too many 80-year-olds look as good as him, right? There's 40-year-olds that don't look as good as him. I'm one of them. Blaze, I use the Streamlabs. So as long as Streamlabs is open and it's linked to your YouTube account while you're streaming, they're supposed to work together with each other. And then from there, you do settings in there. And I'm still learning a lot about Streamlabs. I use OBS as a freestanding broadcasting piece of equipment on my computer, okay? You can download Streamlabs' version of OBS, which is basically all the same, is my understanding. But it's a little easier, perhaps, not for me personally, but for people that are really intuitive on this stuff. It's probably easier to interact through Streamlabs and seamlessly. And they've got all kinds of faceplates you can put down and tons and tons and tons of stuff. But at the same point, I can get that by just using my own version. Let me see if I can do something here. So, for example, I've got a animated Twitter clicker thingy here, which, again, that goes through Streamlabs. And it was made through Streamlabs, is more accurate. So once I made it, I could download it, and then it's mine, the file I've got. But I got that through Streamlabs. So I definitely recommend the hell out of them. They do good stuff. I almost ended up using them as a streaming device as well because my OBS a while back was not cooperating very well. And I ended up having to wipe the whole thing out and re-download it. And what a mess that was. But I love my OBS. And it's a free thing, which is even better. The price is right. Yeah, D-Train. Jeff Hardy comes out and dances while his brother's getting his ass kicked. Hello? I'm glad I'm not the only person that picked up on that. I don't know why I haven't mentioned that before. Now, I get, here's where I will contradict myself. I get why, in that particular instance, they played the music first. Because while everyone in that building knew that Jeff Hardy was going to show up on that show, and while everybody could see, oh, Matt's going to turn babyface now because he's having a difference of opinion with Andrade and team, he ain't there yet. You haven't seen him. So you're still building. Using the music, everyone knows that music from another promotion. It gives added impact. So for that one, I totally agree with using the music. Dancing in the aisle? Probably not so much. And the thing about Toni Storm, and again, I said this on the last stream, that I love about her is now I know she's a wrestler. She left the WWE. She was jaded, justifiably, and started her fans-only page. And unlike a lot of people like a Tammy Sitch, who God knows what she might do on a fans-only page if she wasn't in jail, Toni Storm's not doing that. She's doing bikini shots. Okay, well, they do that in WWE all the damn time for their female stars. It sells merch, sells calendars, what have yous. And she was making serious money. Right out the gate, man. Girl was making some money. She could have said, what? No traveling? No sleeping in hotels? No eating whatever kind of food you can find at 2 o'clock in the morning? And I'm making as much as or more than I was making before? Yeah, I'm going to take a year or two off and find me. She could have done that. And who would have blamed her? Who would have held that against her? But no, man. I can do that. And I'm going back to kick some ass and prove that they were wrong about me. So let's start. Here's what I've always said. The difference between AEW and TNA back in the day, not so much Impact today as it was, but TNA back in the day with Dixie was horrible. That all they would do is take WWE talent that had been developed in WWE and try and glom off of that, bring it in based on the product they created. They never took a talent and made them better, with the exception of EC3. If there's anyone else out there you guys think of, I don't know who it would be, but feel free to throw it out there. But EC3 is like the only thing. Matter of fact, that's the only one they've gotten right. And then the WWE, he had a second chance and screwed it up again. Because he's a lot better than they gave him credit for as well. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Stone Cold, or Rock, but he's good. And definitely better than what they gave him. So I think he did really well under Dixie's watch, but not because of her as much as because of him. Well, you look at the AEW, they don't take the WWE talent and glom off of it. They give them a big stage to do their thing and to make themselves what they felt they weren't over there. Case in point, Britt Baker. We don't know what to do with you. Well, she knew what to do with her. And I am sure there are people in the back that have helped her along the way saying, you know, what her ideas are, and then they throw ideas. That's creative process. That's how this all works. That's why great creators always want to be associated with other great creators, because we feed off of one another. And then we take what was already decent in my mind, all of a sudden it gets much better because of what this person brought to the argument and to the table and to the process of creating. And the WWE does not have that. Across the board, they don't have it. They have a team of writers, many of which don't know shit about professional wrestling. And they give you a script, and they give you a character, and this is what you're going to be. They used to have this no glass ceiling thing about them where, and Vince said this many a time, I'm going to give you an opportunity. What you do with it is on you. If you get out in front of the fans and do something that makes them say, I want to see this guy again, I want to buy his shirts, then I'm going to put you out there because I want them buying the shirts too because I make money. But if I put you out there and you stink up the place, then, be ready to jerk the curtain and take your pinfall. That doesn't happen so much anymore. Now they just tell you that you're a mid-carder, you're going to be an opener, you're going to be on main event. That's it. And they will force feed that to the public until it goes one way or the other. When we talk about Roman Reigns, he was being force-fed to the public for how many years, and we kept spitting it back out. We don't want it. What changed? Corona. There was a thing, I just watched this video recently where there was a story about him returning to the WWE because Vince wasn't happy with him leaving when he did, which you can't blame the guy. We knew nothing about Corona legitimately at that point in time because there was so much conflicting information coming out, and he had a true health issue, and he was frightened. No reason not to be. A young man, you don't want to die at that age. So all that said, when he comes back, he and Paul Heyman get to talking, and they talk to Vince, and they say, listen, he says, I'm going to come back under one stipulation. I won't be scripted. Now, up until this point, I think a lot of us thought that he just couldn't work a mic. Who doesn't remember that promo going into Mania with him and John Cena, where they were going without script, and he kind of stammered for a minute, and Cena looked at him and said, it's called a promo, big guy. You're going to have to do one if you want to be a top dog around here. And the crowd popped, and he even had this moment of like, you son of a bitch. But I felt like that was his moment. I felt like that was where he got this reality check. You just got called out in the middle of doing your job before the biggest pay-per-view event of the year. And essentially, he got Will Smithed right there. And he took it like a man, and he worked on his shit. He's got a great voice. If you really listen to him, you can hear some of the Rock in there. I mean, obviously the same genetics. So, but he has that same dark, but almost a velvet tone going on. He can make it work. When he says, acknowledge me, you hear it, you feel it. There's that growl of a lion in there, What a difference if you look at what he's doing on a microphone now. Brock Lesnar, holy shit. Now, granted, they didn't give him a microphone at all, but you'd think he couldn't do anything with a microphone. Look at the personality that is just oozing from Brock Lesnar today. It's insane that they are keeping that covered up and hidden for so long. But that's a WWE versus AEW that says, we're going to give you a chance. Try not to screw the pooch. I think Jeff was just so used to being in WWE, he figured he had a dance. Come here, monkey. Here's your peanuts. Now dance for me, monkey. Coming to America and Michael Myers Funko Pop. Both of those probably cool. I haven't seen either one. But I can see wanting either of those if I saw them on a store shelf. Impact and Styles, of course. And AJ, or Samoa Joe for that matter. I mean, good Lord. But that was kind of... Was Dixie there for that? No, she wasn't there for AJ. And she was there towards the end of AJ. That's, hey, part of the reason I think he left, right? Talk about screwing the pooch. Because that's when they brought in Hogan and Flair and just... Hall and Nash, and it's like, oh my God. And that's my whole argument about TNA and early Impact with Dixie Carter. We'll call it the Dixie era. It was unwatchable. And it turned a lot of us off to the point where we never... And look at I mean, they went from having solid networks airing their program, having pay-per-view buy rates that weren't horrible, and then all of a sudden it just went to hell. But they're coming back, and that's why I'm happy for them. I would like to see him have TV shows in front of more than like 100 people. Yeah, Atticus, you're 100% right. AJ Styles came into his... I mean, he got there right from day one of TNA. Back when it was either every Wednesday or every other Wednesday. I think it was every 2 weeks on a Wednesday for like $5 a pay-per-view or something like that. It was cheap, $8. And I've got all those on VHS somewhere packed away still. And I won't say it was the greatest wrestling promotion of all time. That was back when Double J was running the show. But you could see they were trying to do something, and even back then we needed something else. And I was like, well, I'll throw my money in as support as long as I can, stay with it. And they had some good talent there, but AJ was that shining star that you knew this is the guy you can build the company around. And they did. When they were taping out here in Orlando at Universal Studios all the time, several friends, again, I mentioned I was coaching for 16 years at that point in time, and one of the girls on a team I was coaching was a huge wrestling fan, and she and her dad went to every one of those Impact tapings, or TNA tapings, whichever they were at the time. I think it was TNA, but they were in the Impact zone. But she's got tons and tons of pictures of her with AJ, because they really treated the fans well because they wanted to keep them coming back. And they did a lot of photo ops before and after, and they were very accessible. So, yeah, if she walked in a room, AJ would know her. Charles Hannon, hey, man, I'm just glad you're here. What's up is, let me refresh, because last count we were only 2 away from 2,000 subs. The little sound thing hasn't gone off here. Oh, my God. Let me refresh something here and see if anything happens. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit 2,000 subs. 2,000 subs. It is official. And it looks like... No, that wouldn't be accurate. Let me see if I can get this thing to give me up-to-date information. That's not what I want. Go back. Subs, that's what I'm looking for. There has got to be a delay because this is showing on YouTube itself. It's showing subscribers going back to March 31st. So nothing even for the 1st or 2nd, which I know that's definitely not accurate. And it didn't go through Streamlabs again for some reason. Disappointing, because I really want to know who the 2000 one was. So I'll just keep refreshing both of these and seeing if something pops here in the meantime. Well, in the meantime, let's not miss the story. Thank you guys so much. 17 years of doing this stuff. And again, it's a labor of love. We're all wrestling fans. That's why we're here. And I don't know anybody as a kid who didn't either want to be a wrestler or have their own promotion. And I figure having my own promotion would be a lot safer than being in the ring. Although, you never know sometimes. You hear stories about guys who are promoters that don't pay out and things like that. And it could be a little harrowing if you don't collect the bills properly and pay the bills properly. But thank you guys all so much. It is a community effort. It is a nation that we are building together. And I greatly appreciate that so much. I'm going to try and figure out who the 2000th sub was somehow here. I wish I could figure out why there's a delay. It does say recent subs in the last 90 days, but you would think that would include today. Silly me. I guess it just needs a time to filter and process everything. I mean, it does that with statistics anyway, which I'm used to that. But it's only going as far as March 31st right now. So my guess is I won't be able to put a name or a face together until sometime tomorrow. Unless, I'm going to try one more thing here. Nope. Well, all that be what it is. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad I was able to do a live stream for this. I wanted to be with the community when it happened. And thankfully, we are all now together for this little moment. Let me check something here real quick. And this might be the last time I can actually show this, unfortunately. I'll have to get another one.
Nation Network! What's going on? Hey, it's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you guys are crushing it. I want to send you a big pre-congratulations on the 2,000 subscribers that you are so close to hitting. 2K22 is unbelievable, and I love that everybody's kind of jumping on board here and realizing how great the content that you're putting out is. So for the community, a big thank you for being part of the Nation Network, and you guys are just getting started. Woo! Keep it going.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get another one done because, honestly, I feel like he played a big part in this, too. Because when I started airing that, it all came together between his little cameo promo there and the 2K22 product that everybody's been wanting information on, and any way you can get it. It's just kind of perfect stormed, and, man, we've been rolling. I'm loving it, and I appreciate it all because I understand it takes all of us together to make a channel that people enjoy being part of. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, D-Train. Well, Charles, as we know, back in the day, 5'7" meant you weren't going to be a wrestler. Well, you had Rick McGraw and guys like that weren't big, but you weren't going to be a superstar. Nowadays, that's not necessarily a determining factor anymore. Well, you're right. Rey Mysterio definitely opened doors that have been closed. NXT starts at 1 o'clock, correct? Which is like almost now, right? I might put it on while I get ready for work. I'll be watching a lot on my personal device tonight because I'm going to be stuck there till late in the evening, if not early in the morning. We've got a concert from hell. It probably won't end until 2 a.m. is the projection, and I'm just like, ugh. Javon, thanks for the bells, whistles, balloons, and little surprises you got added on there. Appreciate you very much. Blaze, of course, couldn't do it without people like you helping out. And I say it all the time, y'all need to check out Blaze's channel as well because he does an all original content channel, and it's just a real fun time. Could unsub and resub. I didn't even say it out loud in my mind. When we got to 1,998, I was like, now watch some smartass unsub. I would have had a laugh at that. I would have. Because I knew eventually we were going to get there anyway, but it would have been funny to see it take a step backwards. I'm the guy that would have done that. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everybody, so much. I cannot... I never imagined 2000 doing this silly stuff that we do now, and who knows? I was watching a video. I guess as certain things trend in what you watch, obviously, there's an algorithm, and YouTube sends you other videos to watch. I already know who Mr. Beast is. I think most of us probably do. And I've seen a lot of his videos, and talk about a guy. I mean, young kid, 13 years old, and turned it into an empire. Literally bought a soundstage recently and a huge acreage land lot to go with it off of YouTube. Now I have no delusions that that's going to be me doing this. I highly doubt that. But it shows how stunned he was when he got 1,000 subs. He's like, and at that time, he wasn't giving away money. It ain't like nowadays where, you want to see somebody giving away $100,000 to somebody to quit their job on the spot. Yeah, I'll do that. A lot of them said, no, I'm the guy who's going to say, yeah, bye. I mean, if I was giving away 100,000 cash a day, I'm pretty sure I'd get some more subs. But he worked to that level. He didn't get that from the get-go, and he was just making silly little videos. There's an audience for everybody. That's the great thing about YouTube. Finding it, that is the challenge. And that's part of the fun. That's kind of what this is all about. Again, since 2K22, I'm looking at my numbers, and they're skyrocketing. But for 16 years, they didn't do that. They would go up in little increments, maybe. But all of a sudden this year, things are just jumping. And part of it is, people are excited about a new game that doesn't suck. Because we've been a long time with ones that do. But I do think that we have a pretty cool thing going on here. I'm glad to see that the numbers for current day roster stuff aren't so removed from what the old school stuff is. My old school stuff's always had the highest ratings. I know where my bread is buttered, and I'm not giving up on that. Plus, I love it. But for me as a creator, I still have to have something else. And I've done so much with the old school names that it's tough coming up with something new and fresh. And again, what's happening right now with AEW, with ROH, there's so much. My brain can't keep up with the different ideas and directions I could go with something like that in a fantasy booking scenario. So from that standpoint alone, I've got to play to that as well. And then I look at the WWE talent. There is so much talent there. The only place they're really lacking talent is in the writing. That's it. I mean, and think about it. 10 years ago, there were these things called daytime soap operas. And now I think there's only two that are left standing. I think maybe General Hospital and Days of Our Lives. Pretty sure all the other ones are gone. And I'm not even sure, aside from my mom, who's watching the other two. But that's where all these writers would normally have been if those daytime shows were still on. Now, I'm not knocking the daytime productions. They are what they are. There's an audience for that as well. Much smaller than it used to be. But there's a style of writing that they do in those shows, and it doesn't work for professional wrestling. And nobody's getting the memo in the WWE, despite them having the worst ratings they've ever had. And that's where I like to come in on my version of, okay, I can take the same talent. Look what I'm doing with Baron Corbin, for example, right now. Watching him be Happy Corbin last night, it hurts my brain. And I can't believe he's happy about it. I mean, yeah, he's probably happy with the paycheck. But how much merch could that be selling? Anybody in the chat room right now, tell me how many Happy Corbin shirts have you bought this year? I'm going to go out on a limb and say none. Blaze, I'll probably be checking in with you too then, because I'll be working that entire night, and I'll be kind of piecing out to my office in increments and just jumping on to get caught up on whatever it is I'm missing. So I'll definitely be looking for you and touch base there, and hopefully I won't get spoiled too much. A lot of what happens tonight's going to be interesting too. Atticus, great point, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because now it makes me feel like I'm actually right about something. Doesn't happen often. Trust me, my girlfriend will tell me all the time. She'll remind me, anytime I think I'm right, she'll remind me, no, you're probably wrong. So for better or worse, this game has helped a lot of content creators, despite the fact they've taken away so much for us to create with. From the creation suites, with the superstars themselves, to the universe mode with the removal of promos. They haven't helped us on that aspect, but the visual, still good. Happy who? Jamon, you didn't buy one of his happy shirts? I can't believe you. And I'll be honest, I haven't bought a Corbin shirt either, but if he came out with some badass character, I'd still love his moves. I love him in the ring, how he works in the ring. Love his finisher. I think that's like the new version of the Diamond Cutter, man. It's that hot. But then they don't book him that way, so it's not. It is a phenomenal finisher. And he can do it on anybody. Plus, he's a big guy, which makes that plausible as well. I would love to see him go to AEW. I really would. Bring back the Lone Wolf and just make him, like Opie from the Sons of Anarchy, Have him be that badass biker dude that just fucks you up. Charles Hannon didn't buy a shirt either. See, this is my whole point. They aren't selling merch. They're getting a paycheck, I'm sure, but everyone will tell you, man, when you got that stone cold cash coming in from shirt sales and hat sales, and hell, the WW or the LOD were thrilled as shit when the WWE put out those foam shoulder pads. Not that they weren't selling shirts already, but man, those foam pads were flying off the shelf. Every kid had to have those. Corbin and Archer as a tag team. I've never been an Archer fan, really. But I guess I've liked him more. And again, he got whacked on that program that I was at in Orlando. That's when he landed on his head. But that was one of the first times I'd seen him live, if not the first time I've seen him live. And he was more impressive live than on TV. Right up to the point where he almost paralyzed himself. Atticus, is that a fact? Now I got to look into that. That's an interesting statistic if that's accurate. I can honestly say I don't recall seeing anyone kick out of it. And that's the way it should be, by the way. All finishers should be that way. You don't kick out of them. Now, if you need a finisher to get hit on a guy but not have it end the match somehow, then you hit him with the end of days close to the ropes and he can barely get a leg over. Or the impact of it makes him roll out of the ropes and hit the floor. But that's the way finishers are meant to be. Nobody ever kicked out of Paul Orndorff's pile driver. Maybe Hogan, because I ain't selling nothing, brother. Hogan probably did kick out of Orndorff's pile driver. As a matter of fact, I know he did. But aside from Hogan, and the Warrior, of course, who did kick out of 5 or 6 Macho Man elbow drops, which was another ridiculous. I mean, it ruins the attempt at kayfabe. Yeah, exactly. The super kick now, everybody and their mother throws a super kick and it doesn't end a match. DDT doesn't end a match. It's standard operating. SOP. DDT is SOP. Or POS. Because now there's so many of them and a lot of them just... It's pathetic, though, that it's not a finisher. It was phenomenal. When Roberts hit with that thing, you weren't even imagining somebody's going to get up from it because it looked amazing. Now, granted, he does it better than anybody. Just like Superfly Jimmy Snuka, there ain't nobody comes off the top rope and hits with a body splash to this day like Jimmy did, with the close second of his daughter Tamina. Hers is pretty damn close. But I look back on old Snuka matches, oh my God. It just looked like there was a crushing of ribs taking place, an impact driving the life out of the body of his opponent. And he kind of bounced back off. I mean, man, that was the best. CYN is banning the super kick, the Destroyer. Well, I'll be honest with you, the Destroyer is a pretty scary move. And dive through the ropes. CYN, help me. I'm not connecting the dots. What's CYN? This is going to be one of those moments where I'm like, oh, dumbass. I just can't get my brain to move in that direction right now. Tell you what we'll do real quick was throw some of these recently acquired talent into a match and have that going on in the background. How about that? Unless they don't show up somehow. Oh, it's funny how in one place it's listed under the T for the, but in the matchmaking it's not. Oh, it might be under Alley. Hold on. There we go. Haven't seen him in action yet. Control your narrative, EC3 and Braun, etc. And Blaze, I still don't know anything about. So, control your narrative is what, a team? And what promotion are they in? EC3 and Braun, where are they wrestling? And I wasn't watching NXT D-Train, so I never saw Scarlett at all. Or Killer Cross at the time. I think he went by Killer Cross. I don't even know anymore. I heard that they put a really stupid outfit on him and then marched him out to Raw for like one episode and then he left. Or was released. So I was not watching NXT at that point in time at all. It's a new promotion. Well, so who's in this new promotion aside from EC3 and Braun, which, by the way, not a bad couple of names to have on the promotion. Control your narrative. And where are they based out of? What I cannot figure for the life of me is Florida is the hot spot for professional wrestlers. But yet we have very little. It isn't like the old days where we had championship wrestling from Florida and you can go to an armory and there's a match on a Saturday night. It's only when they come over to the Edition Arena over at UCF or over at the Amway in Orlando. But that's it. I mean, I work at a 5,000 to 8,000 seat arena, which would be perfect for one of these ROH types. You know, they could probably put, I don't know. I would think they could draw a couple thousand to 3,000. Now, whether they could afford the rent on the place, I don't know the answer to that. I did see something with Austin Aries recently in the ring. And again, he's an older guy now, but I'm just saying, it's the first time I looked at him and said, ooh, damn. Kind of letting himself get away there. But how old is he by now? Late 40s? 48-ish? And am I safe in saying, Blaze, that they have a YouTube channel where I might be able to peruse some of their in-ring activities? Because I'll definitely be interested in checking that out. And if it is indeed what you say, which is the definition of creative freedom, and if they're going to actually let these guys be free to create, then that's something I think we'd all be wanting to check out. And that is one of the few things that they could bring to the table at this point in time that nobody else has, even AEW. AEW does have a lot of creative freedom, but not total. And I'd be curious to see how a promotion runs when you let the wrestlers do the writing, do the storytelling. I mean, who knows a character better than the guys playing it, right? This is not Hollywood where here's the character you're going to play and this is what we want you to think about. Here's the backstory. And for it to work, they have to be themselves. And how do you know me better than I know me? That's right, he was in NWA. That's where I saw him.
And their opponents first, accompanied by Scorpion Scoop from Buffalo, New York, weighing in at 296 pounds, the Butcher.
This is actually the first time I'm getting to see these guys actually in gameplay since I've downloaded them. That's it. Aries and Homicide. That's where I saw him.
From Buffalo, New York,
And it was a decent match.
261 pounds.
NWA is coming along again. They're starting to turn the corner again and get back on track. Because I stopped watching them a while back just because I wasn't feeling it. I don't know. Does Blade really go over the top rope? Of course, they'd normally come in as a tag team anyway, so. Bell sounds. Oh, I forgot. Hold on. I do that all the damn time. Spears looks pretty good. Everybody's looking pretty good. So we got the Butcher, we got the Blade, we got Shawn Spears, the Chairman. Disaster kick off the ropes. Scorpio's looking good. Oh, I like that. Rolled through the miss. Nice. Manhandling his opponent. And here's our first look at the Blade. You know, we talk about protecting people's finishers. It's more than just protecting them. I mean, you also want to legitimize. I like the way he put his hand under the bottom rope. Thanks. You want to make sure you're legitimizing the move. I mean, a pile driver. If someone dropped you on your head, are you going to get back up and fight? I don't think so. If a DDT were executed properly and you drove someone's head into the cement or into whatever hard surface, are they going to bounce right back? Probably not. So it's not even about being a protected finisher per se. It's about selling the fact that this move, no matter who does it, it's going to probably bring an end to the match. And that's why you didn't see pile drivers until the very end. Whether it was Jerry Lawler, Dusty Rhodes, Paul Orndorff, didn't make a difference. It was a go-home move. I do recall reading something, D-Train, about Raven getting involved. And I think you're right. I think it had something to do with the writing team, which can only help. Blade over the top ropes and no. Okay, so that's why I do these. So I can kind of pick that stuff out, and then hopefully I won't forget to go back and change it later. Again, they'll be doing pretty much predominantly tag team stuff. I mean, I know he's a decent-sized guy, but I've seen him standing next to Allie, and how tall can she be? 5'7", 5'8"? So he might be pushing 6. I'm 6 foot. I'm pretty sure I can't go over the top rope. But Shawn Spears sure can. And then you get right up and do that. Okay. Charles, have you actually gone to the tapings, or are you just watching it in general like I am? Ooh, what a splash. Oh, my God. The chairman's been busted up. I've got to go back through my settings and see. I think in past games there was levels that you could set for before somebody would actually get busted open. It seems like it's happening a little too frequently in this. Taking that busted head and ramming it into the top turnbuckle. Now the double team. Damn, he wanted to make that hot tag. Ran right through him. From the top rope he goes. Nice sledgehammer right between the shoulder blades. Damn, D-Train coming in at 6'5". Yeah, it's funny, D-Train. Looking at you, I mean, I feel like you're only about 6'2". Wouldn't have guessed 6'5". Over the top, nicely done. Yeah, Charles, I actually wanted to go see NWA in Atlanta, but then COVID came along and ruined that. Me and the girlfriend were going through Atlanta to a cabin we rented in Georgia up north more. And I was trying to see if there wasn't a way to piggyback the trip with a stop to watch NWA wrestling in the studio, the GPB studio. But it wasn't going to happen at that time. Busted a guy open outside the ring, and then we got back in, and it wasn't him, it was me. That sounds like a 2K glitch. But I do wonder if there's a sensitivity level that I can change where it's not all the damn time. Yeah, old age gets all of us, buddy. I'm still, I think, holding on to the 6 foot mark. I'll be a little depressed the day I hear I'm not. But gravity, thou art a fickle bitch. Now, D-Train, are you playing on Sony PlayStation console, or what is your weapon of choice when it comes to playing the game? The thing I love about Sony is if I have a moment like that, I can always hit that button and the save button or the share button, and then save the last up to 1 hour of video, depending what your settings are set for. So that if I have a moment like that, I can at least grab it. Like we did with the 1985 throwback show the other day, and I accidentally forgot to switch my screen back to live. And the entire Big John Studd Andre match was done by radio. But I was able to at least save the match and then upload it separately later on. Which, by the way, I hope you guys had a chance to see that clip from that match. I also posted it on the Twitter account. Big John Studd bounced off of Andre, and Andre retaliated by clotheslining him over the top rope without even a moment's notice. What kind of pop would that have gotten in 1985? Yep. You can do that with the PS4. Just hit that little save or the share button, the one to the left of the D-pad. And you want to tap it. You don't want to hold it. If you hold it, you're going to get a photograph opportunity of the screen. So just kind of depress it quickly. And sometimes, depending, you might have to wait a few seconds, up to like 30 of them, before the option appears on the window where you can then decide to select the save video, which I believe is a square button. And after that, you got Share Factory. You can edit it all up pretty, and there you have it forever. Oh, shit. Power bombed all the way out to the floor. I mean, has anyone ever, maybe with tables out there and stuff to break the fall or guys to catch you, but nobody's been power bombed to the floor. Sean Spears earning that money tonight. That happens, D-Train. By the way, the only reason I don't forget about it is I do that stuff all the time. Comes with the territory. But you'll never forget it again now. Butcher is going to town on both of these guys. Uh-oh. Damn. Thought it was going to be white noise. Instead, it's a neck breaker. Sean Spears does not look like he's having a good day. Stunner. And the blade pays the price. Free fall cutter. Pulls him away from the ropes, gives him way too much time to recover. Not that it matters. Blade had plenty of time to get in there and make the save. From behind, double team. Butcher's got Scorpio in trouble. Shades of the British Bulldog right there with that long hanging suplex. Scorpio might be done. Meantime, the other two guys battling it out on the floor. Sean Spears not paying attention to what's going on in the ring, and his partner's about to be... Oh, he just got his shoulder up. Gonna do it again, only this time Sean Spears is there. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind that. Scorpio says, I don't think so. Clothesline sends him toppling to the floor. And I'll keep on saying it. They need to put a feature in that you can limit the number of saves in a tag team match so that these matches don't go on for 20 minutes apiece. Variation of the crossroads right there. Is that going to be enough? Would have been. I don't even know if Darby Allin could take that, man. Everybody's bleeding. Here we go. Let all the blood drain to the head. Why not? On this hard, unforgiving surface. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's going to take out Scorpio at the same time. Referee forgot how to count past 8. That was a nice move right there. But it backfired. Go for the cover. Are you kidding me? That was the spot right there. All right, you're going to try and draw a submission out of him. That might work. Spears has been bent in every direction possible thus far. Referee asking if he wants to give it up. Scorpio Sky coming back in. Doesn't try to save his partner, though, until the last minute. He should have gone for the damn pin after the splash. Who's booking this shit? Yeah, I've noticed the AI, generally speaking, D-Train, seems to like working the body in general. It doesn't often pick a body part, which would be great improvement for the AI moving forward. Since it already calculates what limbs have suffered the most damage, and there it is. It's over with that little trap hold. That it would make sense that it would then, if it's AI, which is artificial intelligence, that it would say, oh, he's got a bad leg. I'm going to work the leg. And that maybe you could decide that there's an injury that will follow him for up to 2 or 3 weeks. So that all of his matches over those 2 or 3 weeks, he would have that as a weakness. That's how you make the game better.
Here are your winners.
Got up and then counted 3 anyway. Haven't had that yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I can totally imagine that happening, though. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Thank you so much for being here as part of this stream. We officially hit 2,000 subs, and the nation continues to grow on. I really do mean it when I say thank you guys for all of your help with that and your support. It means a lot. If there's not an audience, then there's not a creator. It's that simple. And you guys have been a real blast to work with. So I thank you. I look forward to doing more of this silliness in the near future. Enjoy the official night one of WrestleMania. I'll be watching it periodically throughout. Maybe I'll do another What's News tomorrow morning, and we'll recap what's going on from night one. That's probably a pretty safe bet. And then I'll do my night two possibly tomorrow. If not, definitely Monday. All right. Thank you again for the 2,000 subs. See you real soon from ringside. Vince McSham saying so long, everyone.